If someone asked you, who is the richest person that ever lived? You might think of Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Rockefeller, or maybe some ancient emperor whose name you once heard in school. But history says none of them come close. Because the richest man the world has ever known lived over 700 years ago. In a kingdom made of gold. Ruled by a man so wealthy that when he traveled, he changed the economy of every country he passed through. His name was Mansa Musa, and this is his story. In the scorching heat of 1312 West Africa, the Empire of Mali was already a land overflowing with riches. Gold dust glittered in the markets like sand. Caravans passed through the Sahara carrying spices, salt, books, and treasures unknown to Europe. But the people of Mali were waiting for their new ruler. A young man with a calm face, sharp intelligence, and a heart beating with ambition. Musa Keita I. He didn't inherit a normal kingdom. He inherited the largest gold-producing empire on earth. And overnight, he became responsible for millions of people and mountains of wealth. But Musa had something many rulers lacked: vision. He didn't want Mali to just be rich. He wanted Mali to be remembered. Historians say that at the peak of his rule, Mansa Musa controlled over half of the old world's gold supply. His treasure rooms were stacked with golden bricks, gold statues, golden jewelry. His palaces shimmered in the sun. Yet he wasn't reckless. He walked his palace with humble steps, greeting servants by name, and listening to scholars from distant lands. One night, during a council meeting, an advisor asked, "My king, how much wealth do we truly have?" Musa smiled gently. He reached down, picked up a small handful of gold dust from a pot beside his throne, and said, "Enough to make the world notice us." He was right. But not in the way anyone expected. In 1324, Mansa Musa announced he would fulfill one of the 5 pillars of his faith. A long, dangerous pilgrimage to Mecca. But Mansa Musa was no ordinary pilgrim. He prepared a journey so large, so extravagant, so unbelievable that the world still talks about it today. His caravan included 60,000 people, 12,000 royal servants dressed in silk, 500 slaves, each carrying a 4-pound gold staff, 80 camels, each loaded with 300 pounds of pure gold. Imagine a river of people stretching across the desert, shimmering with gold under the African sun. Everywhere they passed, villages stopped. Children ran out in excitement. Merchants dropped their goods just to watch. Musa gave gold generously to the poor. He built mosques along the way. He fed thousands. To many, he looked less like a king, and more like a miracle. When Mansa Musa entered Cairo, the city exploded with excitement. No one had ever seen a king like him. He bought gifts. He supported craftsmen. He gave gold to anyone who asked. But there was one problem. He gave away too much gold. So much that the value of gold in Egypt collapsed. Prices skyrocketed. People panicked. The entire economy shifted. All because one man was too generous. It took about 12 years for Cairo's economy to recover. Just imagine that. One man traveling through your city causes a national inflation crisis because he gave out so much gold. Only Mansa Musa could do that. After his legendary pilgrimage, Mansa Musa returned to Mali with a new mission. He wanted to turn Mali into the cultural capital of the world. And so, he began building. He brought architects from Spain and Cairo. He constructed palaces, mosques, libraries, and entire cities. But there was one place that became the jewel of his empire. Timbuktu. Under Musa's rule, Timbuktu transformed from a desert trading post into the center of education in Africa. Thousands of scholars traveled from around the world. Libraries stored hundreds of thousands of books. More than most European cities had at the time. Musa didn't just build an empire of gold. He built an empire of knowledge. But ruling the richest empire on earth wasn't easy. Rivals plotted in the shadows. Desert raiders attacked caravans. Jealous leaders in other kingdoms watched Mali's wealth with dangerous curiosity. And back in his palace, Musa often sat alone, looking out over the Niger River, thinking as kings often do. How long will my name last? He had more wealth than anyone could imagine, more power than any ruler of his age. Yet he knew something that many forget. Gold fades. Kingdoms rise and fall. But legacy is eternal. And so he focused on what truly mattered, building a foundation that would outlive him. In 1375, long after Musa's pilgrimage, European mapmakers created an illustration called the Catalan Atlas. In the middle of Africa, smiling proudly, they drew a king holding a golden nugget in one hand and a golden staff in the other. Below it, they wrote, "The richest and most noble king in all the land." Europe didn't know much about Africa at the time, but they knew Mansa Musa. He became the first sub-Saharan African ruler to be shown on a medieval European map. Just his image was enough to shake the world. People try to calculate Mansa Musa's wealth today. Some say he had the modern equivalent of $400 billion. Others say he was too rich to measure. One historian wrote, "Mansa Musa's wealth was incalculable. It cannot be described in numbers. It can only be imagined." His riches were so vast that even centuries later, economists say, he remains the richest man in human history. When Mansa Musa died in 1337, his empire was the largest in West Africa. His sons took over, but none had his wisdom. Slowly, the empire declined. But his legacy never did. Today, Mali still stands. The mosques he built in Timbuktu still exist. Researchers continue to study the manuscripts left behind by his scholars. And his story inspires millions across Africa and the world. Because Mansa Musa is not just the richest man in history. He is proof of something greater. Greatness can come from anywhere. Even from places the world chooses to ignore. And his story reminds us that true wealth isn't just gold. It's knowledge, generosity, vision, and the power to lift others with you. If Mansa Musa taught us anything, it's that wealth is meaningless unless it creates a legacy. You could be famous. You could be powerful. You could have all the money in the world. But how will people remember you? Mansa Musa's story isn't just history. It's a challenge. Build something that lasts. Create impact. Leave your mark on the world. Because true riches aren't stored in treasure rooms. They are written in the memories of generations.